So today is oil change day on the Triumph Sprint RS. So first thing to do is just get the engine a little bit warmed up. Yeah, get it warmed up and the oil just flows out easier. This is one of those jobs which you should be able to do yourself. It's not particularly difficult. You can save yourself a lot of money. It's a little bit messy, but if you've got all the right equipment needed, if you've got all the I'm glad that started. It hasn't been started for a few weeks, but if you've got all the right equipment, it's quite straightforward. Just make sure you've got everything to hand before you've got everything to hand already. So obviously something to catch the oil with. You need to be able to, if there's any bodywork that needs to come off, and the sump plug and obviously the filter itself. Yes, you just have those tools at hand. I always keep an old cardboard box because no matter how hard you try, you always get a splash somewhere, or even worse, a bit of a spill of oil somewhere. So it's quite handy just to get a bit of cardboard like that, and it'll just mop up any spillage you get. So I could probably get away without moving the belly pan off this. You can see underneath there, so the filter is, can't see it actually. Yeah, there's the filter, and the drain plug is just there. But I'll take this off. I'll take this off anyway, the belly pan off. It's just easier to get at those, and then I can have a good cleaning behind there anyway. So yeah, so that's the first job. Missed one of the bolts. And now the batteries run flat. There we are. Yeah, we get much easier access underneath there now. Easier to get those. I used to just use an old basin for collecting the oil. I got into a lot of trouble the first day I used this. I just thought, oh, I'll borrow that out of the sink inside. Yeah, big time in the doghouse. Anyway, I've moved on since then, and I bought a proper like oil catching tray and funnel to put it in. I think 15 quid on Amazon or something like that. So it's well worth getting one of those. And then obviously got a drain plug there as well, which makes it easier for just getting rid of the oil then afterwards. So like I've said before, if you just have these little tools, these little extra bits, just spend a couple of quid, get these bits, it makes the job so much easier. Okay, we'll catch the oil in there. Let's just get this loosened off first. There we are. Get ready. I did this before, and as soon as I pulled out the drain plug, the oil came straight out. I was actually using that other basin that I just showed you. Came straight out into the basin and just splashed straight out all over the patio. So not only was I in trouble for taking the basin, I was in trouble for flooding the patio with oil. Yeah, it just came straight out and splashed straight back out again. Nice, perfect little arc, going straight back out again. Yeah, wasn't a good day. I should have put my gloves on actually before this. I particularly want to get oil all over my hands. In fact, let me stop the video there and I'll go and put some gloves on. Okay, got my gloves on. So let's get that out. Here we are, there she goes. Right, so let's just leave that to drain for a little while. It's looking very black, that, isn't it? I know it goes very black very quickly, but that does look very, very black. The guy I bought this off told me he just recently changed the oil. Looks like oil's been in there for quite a while. The other thing that helps when you're draining the oil as well is just to take off the filler cap. It just lets a bit more flow through of air. Filler cap and dipstick. I must find out now, does that dipstick, when I'm checking the oil afterwards, is that dipstick with it screwed in fully or with it just resting on top? I'll just have to look that up and see which that is. So I'm going to let that drain out a little bit because I want to take this basin away because I can't get in there to get at the oil filter at the moment. So I'll just let that drain a little bit, then I'll get that oil filter off. I've put the drain plug back in there just very loosely, just to stop any little drips coming out, just so I can get easier access to the oil filter, which is under here. There we are there. Hopefully this isn't too tight. Oops, wrong way. No, right way. Actually, that's quite loose. Well, not loose, but it's just not done up really, really tight. Sometimes some people put them in so tight. It don't need to be finger tight. Just when you're putting them back in, just tighten it up. Sometimes they're wedged in so hard it's a bugger of a job getting them out, but so that's quite loose. So now I'm just going to put the basin back in underneath and then take the filter out the whole way. Okay. This will be messy. There we go. Okay, let's just take that back out again. Just let everything run out. See what I mean about just putting down a bit of cardboard to catch all these drips? Right, time for a cup of tea. And just let all that drain out. So I've got my oil, got my filter. So what I'm going to do is just put some oil actually into the filter and rub a little bit of oil around the seal. I think that just helps the seal. I presume that's why that's done. So just helps with the circulation if there's already oil in there. And as I'm putting this up, just makes it easier. So And I'm just going to smear a little bit of oil just around the outside there. Okay, and then right, let's move that out of the way. Right. I'm doing this blind, I can't actually see. There we are, goes in quite easily. And this just needs to be finger tight. It doesn't need to be on there tight at all, just, yeah, that's all it needs. Now, I've got some washers. I've got some new deformable washers. Got a new one to go on there, so I'll just go and get that. And then we can just top up with the new oil. Every time when I used to change the oil, every time when I changed the oil, I'd always just buy a new washer. The crushable ones are the best, I think. So I'd always buy a new crushable washer, but then when you're buying one washer every time, it's starting to get a bit expensive. So what I did was, I just bought a whole pack of them. So I think that was probably the same price as 2 or 3 on their own. So get the size it fits, and then they crush down. So that just goes on. I don't know how thick it should be. I'm going to put 2 of them on there. To be sure. Right, 2 of those in there. Let's put that back on there. And then tighten that up again. Again, this doesn't need to be stupidly tight. I'm sure there's a torque setting for it. But just, there we are, just enough to hold it in there good and tight. It's a bit of a disaster if that comes out, but I don't think that's going anywhere. Okay, so now it's time to just put in the new oil. Alright, before I start putting in the new oil, I'm just going to get rid of that old oil. Which leaves me with a little problem. So the oil I've got, I think it takes the capacity with the oil filter change, I think it's 3.2 litres. That's a 4-litre container, so I'm not going to use all of that oil. I don't particularly want to have to waste nearly a litre of it, so I can't pour the old oil into that. I've already got, these are all full of old oil from old changes. I go past the recycling centre so many times, I always say, oh, I've forgotten to bring the old oil to get rid of it. So I don't really want to, but I'm going to have to put the old oil into that diesel can. I suppose we just give it a good clean out afterwards, it'll be okay. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. So let's see how much oil we need. I'm pretty sure it's 3.2 litres. Maintenance, just oil, and then see if that dipstick needs to be plugged in fully. Screwed in fully, right. Filler plug dipstick. Stop engine and wait for at least 10 minutes for the oil to settle. Remove the filler plug dipstick, wipe the dipstick clean, and screw the plug dipstick fully home with the clutch cover. Right, so it needs to go in the whole way. Right. How much oil do we need? After the oil is completely drained out, fit a new sealing wash to the drain plug, fit and tighten the plug to 25 Newton meters. Fill the engine with new oil of the type and grade listed in the specification section. So it doesn't tell me there how much oil I need. The specification section. Specifications, where are you? Here we are. Specifications, engine oil. Doesn't say how much I need in there either. It just says semi or fully synthetic. 15W40. Nope. Okay, so I'll put 3 litres in and then check it, and then just make sure that there's a bit of a pain when you put in too much. Right, that's what we need to do. After having a cup of tea, of course. Right, let's put this fresh engine oil in. The other good thing about the cardboard like that is for kneeling on it, it's a lot more comfortable. Okay. Glug, glug, glug. Hurts your wrists after a little while holding this. No jokes at the back. It won't drain in fast enough, so I have to let it all drain out of the funnel and then top it up a bit more in the funnel. That's not even 2 litres I've put in yet. Yeah, that's just about 2 litres now. Sounds like me down a pint of Guinness. That's just coming up to 3 litres now, so maybe another glug like that maybe should be enough. Right. That's 3 litres. I reckon it was 3.2, so just another few more glugs. That should be 3.2, so I'll just put that much amount in. Obviously this is all going to need to drain down. A minute just to it all drain down. And then we'll see where we are. That looks about spot on at the moment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch the engine on, just to circulate it all, let it drain down again, and then check it again, because quite often what will happen, you'll find out that the oil will drain down an awful lot further and you end up having to put in a bit more. So let's just do that. Oh, bloody alarm on this. Oh, it's not on or I'm not sure. That's all we need, I think, just to let the oil circulate around a bit. Let it all drain back down again, and then just check the level again and see if we need to top it up. There we are, perfect. Okay, right, we'll leave it at that. So now all I need to do, I'm going to give all the underside a little bit of a clean off, and then put that belly pan back on, and then that's it. Job's a good one. Alarm's going to go off in a minute. Yeah, I know. So this will be basically the very same procedure for any bike. They're almost all the same. There might be a sight glass here to check your oil level rather than a dipstick. Oil filter might be sticking out the front or somewhere different, but generally speaking, it's more or less the same. So yeah, although this is on a Triumph Sprint, it's going to be the same on most bikes. Just give everything a little clean off before I put it all away, ready for the next time. Okay, thanks for watching.